Okay, enough of that. Okay, the idea that came to me today happened this morning around 5 a.m. Basically, I go to this running club that it does a couple of runs through the week, but the one that I go to is 5 at 5, 5k at 5 a.m. And I think it's because the guy the founder of it, Herman, I think because he mentioned religion, he mentioned it in a different way to what I'm going to talk about now, but he mentioned religion when he was talking. He was just like, oh, get to know each other, this is how we learn, like you learn about other religions, other races, other things like that. That was his point. My point is that I actually now think I understand one of the reasons why people like church so much, synagogue, mosque, whatever. These religious communities, these places where people go, they congregate, they get together, and they have this kind of shared reason for being there. I'm an atheist, so I've never experienced that. Obviously, like school, I always thought of school as kind of like that church analogue. Everyone had to be there for the same sort of reason. Someone stands at the front and tells you exactly what's going on. Community. And I liked school, but then I've not had that for ages. I mean, I used to have the pub, but I've been sober for 4 years now. The pub, it doesn't hit the same when you're the only sober one there. Running though, running's this thing that has always been very solitary for me. Very so solitary. Like it's the thing that I do. Barely ever do it with anyone else. Sometimes I'll go to a park run. Sometimes I'll go out for a run with a friend. But they're the exceptions. Usually I'm just out. I'm running. I'm not even listening to music or anything. I'm just out and I'm running, and it's me, myself, my thoughts. That's it. But I've not ever really been part of a running club before. This one is unique, I think, because I'm not unique. I'm sure there's others that do this, but it puts me with those people who are willing to get up at a stupid time in the morning to go out in weather like this. It's actually quite nice at the moment. But when I was out this morning, it snowed yesterday. The snow had turned to slush and then frozen. It was slippy. It was kind of gross, but it was like my kind of thing. I enjoyed being out there. In fact, I'm just going to cut to what I was thinking just before I got to the meetup.
Seems like a crazy thing to say, but if I could bottle the feeling of being out here now, and every time I got up I could replace that feeling of like, oh, I don't want to leave the house, with this, I'd be out at 4:20 every morning. Easy. Because this feels amazing. This feels wonderful. This feeling, being out quiet, just the birds. It's crisp. It's fresh. It's slippy as fuck. It just feels incredible. Can't bottle it though. Just gotta use that willpower, grow that little bit of your brain every day, and get out, whether you want to or not.
So that's what I was thinking. And so you can imagine that that's not a common thing to want to be out in the cold at that time in the morning. But there was nearly 100 people there. 5 o'clock this morning, nearly 100 people turning out to run, just to run. That's it. And the other thing about it is, I think because it's people with this one shared thing, bringing them together, all walks of life, all sorts of people, all sorts of jobs, different people coming together. And so we get there and we stand around, and Herman, the guy who's, the founder, one of the founders, he chats for a bit, and then we get warmed up, we go for the run. But then afterwards, after the run, this is when people could go. There's no reason to be there anymore other than to listen to him. And at that point, he talks about employment, he talks about bills, he talks about standing up for yourself, he talks about all these different things. And it's this community of people listening to someone at the front talking about stuff that matters. And I just think that's a beautiful thing. And I don't know if this is the same with every run club. Maybe whatever run club you join and you think, you feel part of, maybe that is going to give you the same sort of thing. I like this one because it's 5 a.m. It's weird. Like, the people that are there are dedicated. You might like the one that does 7 o'clock on a Friday evening because you get to go to the pub afterwards, something like that. Maybe there's some thing that brings you into it that means all them other people that are there are also there for that thing, and so you're like-minded enough that it really means something. So I feel like this scratches the itch that I miss by not being someone who go to a church, a mosque, synagogue. They're the only 3 I know. I'm sure there's other things. Temple, that's a thing. I don't know. I'm not going to show my ignorance up trying to figure these things out. But I just thought that was really interesting. Sorry if this is like offensive to anyone, like comparing running to your chosen deity, but running's more real. I hate to say it, but running's actually a thing that exists. Sorry about that. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm sorry, I am only kidding, and I'll see you in the next one.